Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to our live stream. So today we are talking about our First Choice Life membership level 2. And we are very excited to announce that we now have membership available. And if you go onto our Peace Evolution YouTube channel, you'll see there's a join button there now. And if you select that, you'll see all the different levels of membership that we have available. So we previously, in a previous session, we discussed the First Choice Life membership level 1, which basically evolved around the central question of what the meaning of your life is. And if you guys would like to watch the replay of that, it is available on our channel. It's called Fast Track Living a Life of Meaning. So you guys can go and have a look at that. Right, then our discussion today is about what this First Choice Life membership level 2 would include. And our main focus here would be on the topic of how we create our factor X and how we can uncreate it. So we're going to look at the purpose of the membership and what this includes. So let me just bring up our little logo there so that everyone can see that we are talking about our membership level 2. Then I think I just want to say why we've implemented these membership options. Obviously, it's to add value, and it's also for our members to experience a first-hand account of addressing their life's most profound questions, including what the meaning of their life is. And then it is an opportunity for you to get insights into uncovering your own meaning, as well as your purpose. So I want to just quickly mention before we officially start that Peace Evolution is a startup organization, and we would love your support with any contributions as we are trying to proliferate this message of a recipe for inner peace to evolve humanity. So it would be great to get any support in that and contributions. And then I'm going to hand over to Emmanuel. He's going to set the scene today for us about our membership and what that includes. Let me bring him on board to the live stream. There he is. Hello, Emmanuel. How are you?
Hello, Lay. I'm fine, thank you. And thank you for the introduction of what we are doing here today and also for inviting me on board.
It's an absolute pleasure to have you here, Emmanuel. So I'm going to hand over to you. I'm sure you first want to set the scene, and then from there we'll go into the presentation.
Okay, Linda, thank you. You're quite spot on. I'd like to step back a little bit and share with the viewers the origin of Peace Evolution. As Linda had mentioned, it is a startup. And when I did my journey to find and to answer that question, what is the meaning of my life? I went on a journey. I had no idea where that journey was going. And I then found what the meaning is of my life. And I found also that other questions that I picked up along the way, like for instance, are you yearning for a different life? I was certainly yearning for a different life. And I also picked up further questions along the way. For instance, do you feel something is missing? So those are 3 questions that I had. And due to a particular temperament of mine, which is I truly do not like looking for symptoms and treating symptoms, my journey led me to paths where I eventually found the root cause of why I asked those questions. So you might find this unique in your life. I want to go as far as saying that you are to see things here, hear things here today. There is a high likelihood you've never seen or heard of them before, and you are more than welcome to stay, and you are also more than welcome to say, okay, I like this, I'm going to subscribe, I would like to get notified, I would like to comment. And let me take a step further. We would also like you to comment, even if you disagree. We are open for this. And one of the things that I realized along the way was, as part of my quest of always looking for the root cause, I even here found that many offerings that exist does not address the root cause. It's all about treating symptoms. So that's a huge statement that I'm making. And as a result of this, in our membership, and why we created the membership was to address the difficulties of understanding the difference between, on the one hand, treating symptoms, and on the other hand, addressing causes. So without you having any guidance as to the difference between those two and the impact they have on life, we created this membership. Now today we are going to present as our level 2 membership something that I discovered with myself, and in speaking to other people I also discovered that the exact same, what I found for myself when I was looking at the root cause, exists in other people as well. So Linda, that is setting the scene at a very high level, and I'd love to jump in and ramble on, but I'm sure you might want to just ask or say something.
Yes, I would actually like to take the opportunity to ask our viewers to actually challenge us on that very big statement that Emmanuel said, that we are addressing the root cause instead of looking at the symptoms. If you guys have seen or heard or watched anything out there that addresses the root cause, please let us know. We would love to hear from you and get comments on that. So yeah, please share with us. Right. Then, Emmanuel, I'm going to share the presentation and then, yeah, you can take it from there.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you.
One second, let me just bring it up for us. Okay, can you see that, Emmanuel?
I see it 100%. Linda, and just
Perfect.
for the viewers to be able to see it as well, could I ask you just to zoom in a little bit?
100%.
Okay. So when we look right at the top of that mind map, you are going to see this point, the origin of questions about your purpose. So what we are going to share here today essentially and eventually leads back to the origins of the question about your purpose. And then you see there below it also is what is the meaning of my life, and also the yearning for a different life. While I was setting the scene, I was covering that, as well as do you feel something is missing? Now, I could go very slowly on this and speak about this for many hours, or I can just give you the taster and unfold the membership level 2 throughout this live stream, and then you would be able to see the bigger picture of what this membership is about. Thank you, Linda. So let's go and look at those 4 points. We are also going to cover the level 2 membership. We're in further detail the origins of factor X and what factor X is, and addressing the root cause, and also the impact of factor X on your health. So Linda, let's jump into those topics. Let's take the level 2 membership. Okay. So we are now talking of the first choice life, and we talk about the first choice life. We also have recognized that there is a second choice life. We are focusing on the first choice life, where you are living a life true to yourself, and what that means, we are also going to elaborate on that. So the question then is, what is the purpose of this membership? And Linda also touched on it. And the purpose of the membership is it provides you with, as it says there, a first-hand account of addressing the root cause, addressing the questions that we raised above. We raised those questions, for instance, what is the meaning of my life? This is going to provide a first-hand account of those 3 questions. Thank you, Linda, for focusing on that. The next thing it's going to do is it also tells you that it includes the book in ebook form of Life Can Be Different Conception. That is a book about my journey as it unfolded. And it includes living a healthy lifestyle. Now you might wonder what and how do these things link together? And we are going to get there, and you are going to see how they are linked together. So there you see that we recognize our factor X, and also living a healthy lifestyle is what we are going to cover here. And then if we, let me just remove this. Thank you, Linda. when we look there, we see that on joining this membership, you immediately qualify for the First Choice Life Membership Level 1. Also for the Q&A live stream session about Factor X and a healthy lifestyle. And also we add one live online movement class per week. So in the level 1 membership, you have one live online movement class per week. This one adds a second one, so you have 2 where you are able to join. You also have use of the private movement videos, and you are able to also watch all previous and new related videos and Q&A live stream sessions. So I just want to stop here about the Q&A live stream sessions. What happens with the Q&A live stream sessions is, as you are progressing through the material, and where you are going to maybe read this book, the ebook Life Can Be Different Conception, and you get stuck on a certain point, as I mentioned, you're going to be hearing information that you've not heard of before. There is the book. Thank you, Linde. Then what do? You are stuck. So what we are doing is every second week, we have a live stream Q&A where you can bring your question and ask whatever it is that you are stuck with, and we are going to assist you. The beauty of our live stream Q&A sessions is each one that we finish, we are also going to upload as part of the level membership level, and then you are able to look at previous discussions about that and also the previous concerts. So you've got a continuous support in this membership level 2. Right. So thank you, Linde. So let's go on. So that is what you qualify for, those 4 points. And let's jump into the next point. You pace yourself and you take part as it suits you. Nobody's rushing you. You are taking part as you choose. And then if you take a step further, you also see that your obligation is to yourself. We are not telling you what to do. You have no expectations from us. The expectations are purely what you are going to conjure up and place on yourself. We are not going to do that whatsoever. Right, so that is what we refer to as the level 2 membership and what it includes. So I would like to stop here. And Linde, do you have any questions for me on what we've done so far?
I don't have any questions. Thank you, Emmanuel. I just want to remind our viewers that if they want to go and watch the replay for when we discussed what is included in level 1 membership, they can just go and view that video. I'm bringing it up on the screen. Fast Track Living a Life of Meaning. It is on our YouTube channel, and they're welcome to go and watch the replay of that.
Okay, thank you, Linde, and always on the lookout to give assistance to our viewers. So I just want to recap. Again on joining this membership. So the membership that we are talking about is the level 2 membership. Immediately on joining, You qualify for the First Choice Self Level 1 membership. You also qualify the use of the private movement videos. Also, you're able to watch all the previous videos and also the replay videos, as Linda mentioned now. And as I also mentioned, the additional live online class per week. And there is also another point about the videos. You would be able to watch from the health point of view the online class uh, and follow along. So you've got the option, you do the online class, and if you're not able to make it for whatever reason, there are follow along videos telling you how to particularly do a certain exercise. So that is the membership. I would like to just come back to one point, Linda. And as part of this membership, the one First Choice Self Membership Level 1 that you qualify for, in there is a downloadable ebook, this book of Life Can Be Different Conception, which you are also able to read and bring those questions to us as well. So thank you very much, Linda, for that clarity and also for that hint of where to find and what is available. Okay, then the next thing that I would like to talk about is, Linda, shall we go back to, there we are, the origins of factor X. Okay, again, I could speak hours and hours and hours on this, but let me not speak hours on this and give you a high-level overview of what we mean by factor X. Based on my journey, and I'm Emmanuel, as you see there, based on my journey, I made certain discoveries that one of which is a significantly huge discovery, and that is a certain belief about myself. So as I was doing my introspection, I saw, oh wait, I have a certain belief about myself. I also share how that belief was born. Now, I would like to just roughly say, uh, again, in speaking with other people, I found words like, I'm a nobody, there's no space for me, I'm a failure, I'm not good enough. So all those different things, which are beliefs about ourselves, which I tell you undoubtedly, absolutely undoubtedly, is a figment of our imagination. What I found for myself was not factual. If you are walking around with you're not good enough, you're scared of being a failure, those are all things we impose on ourselves, and there's absolutely no factual basis for that. Now, this dynamic that I'm talking about, the I'm not good enough, there's no space for me, I'm a failure, and how that came about, I coined the phrase factor X. So in the book that we mentioned earlier on, there's reference to factor X all over the book. And what that is, it's an easy reference so that I don't have to each time say, I'm a failure, I'm unwanted, I'm not good enough. Any one of those, I coined the phrase factor X. And in the book and in this membership, we are going to delve into the origins of Factor X. Thank you, Linde. And also, I'd like to just say there that point where if you look at that tickler that's running at the bottom, that is also at the time of the Factor X realization. So I'm realizing, oh, this happened to me. And in this membership level 2, we are also going to assist and guide you for you to see that for yourself. In that moment, the dynamic of the second choice self was born. So when you, Linde, can you move the screen just a little bit so that we can see the level 2 membership as well? I just want to make a reference there. There we are, thank you. So we say there, the name of the membership is First Choice Life Membership. Now we interchange life and self. So we say the membership is about the first choice life or the first choice self. And what we say here on the tickler running at the bottom, I made the discovery that I had a certain belief about myself, and I phrased that as Factor X, but that's also where the second choice self was born. So let's look at this. We are living, and I found for myself, I was living a life, a second choice self life, or a second choice life, which was not the life that I would have wanted to live had I known I did this. But the contra to that is also that there is a second choice life and a first choice life. And we discussed that at length in this live stream Q&A in this level 2 membership. So that's that point. And then maybe you don't want to hang about from the one live stream to the other live stream for the Q&A. As part of the level 1 membership, you get the downloadable ebook, and you could grab that and start working on that at the same time and get a first-hand idea of how that came about. It's a reflection on my life of how that came about, how that was born. Then if we look at it a little bit further, Factor X is a figment of my imagination. It's not factual. So I lived a life until I made this discovery. I lived a life based on a figment of my imagination, and I'm now giggling about it because in making that discovery and seeing that there's a first choice and a second choice self, it then, of course, gave me the opportunity to say, okay, for the second choice self, thank you very much. No need for you anymore. I'm moving you aside. I'm interested in my first choice self. And the beauty of this is in the moment when I created my Factor X, I also realized that if I created it and it's a figment of my imagination, as it says there on the screen, I also could uncreate it. So that's the beauty of it. So if we look there, we could create it, we could also uncreate it. If it was my invention, I could uncreate it. So it's not something that Peter gave me or Paul gave me or my mother or the school or the church or the government or anything. I created it, which means I'm also able to uncreate it. And of course, that means that's certainly welcome news. And that is what this level 2 membership is about. This dynamic of Factor X this belief that I had about myself, about the figment of my imagination, how it came about, the fact that it's not factual, the fact that I created it, the fact that I'm able to uncreate it. And remember, I would not have said this was welcome news if somebody else created it, because then it means they would need to uncreate it. And as part of this content and the book that I referred to earlier, the journey is uncovering Factor X, and it reflects on things that I am 99.999% sure you've not heard of it before. So based on that dynamic, and because you are not going to see these things overnight, this membership level 2 came about. So let's just stand back a little bit. It's significant and important enough that we speak about this just for a minute, or more than a minute. The dynamic, so let's step back further. The fact that we say that this is going to be, until you tell me different, this is going to be the first time that you heard about that we treat the root cause of the question of what the meaning of my life. Further question about I yearn for a different life. The further question about something is missing. What is it that's missing? So I can go and do all sorts of things like therapy, like read many, many books, and all of them are going to give you coping mechanisms. I'm sorry to say that, but that is what I found. All coping mechanisms about how do I now live my life if I have all those questions. My journey led me, and because I'm somebody who is fascinated by finding the root cause of things, led me to a place where I address the root cause so that I'm not treating the symptom. I don't need coping mechanisms. I don't need survival mechanisms. And look at here. Let's look at the particular that I just put up now. Factor X, that dynamic, hides our first choice self. So that means we are living a life where we hide the existence of ourself. That's why we ask the question of what is the meaning of my life? Because we are not in our life. That's also why we yearn for a different life. That's also why we feel something is missing. So think about this. Here is Factor X, which is now hiding you, the first choice self. Consequent to that, you have these questions of the meaning of the yearning for a different life, and also the something feels missing, and you attempt to address that. In my journey, I found that to bridge that, we are treating symptoms. Here at Peace Evolution, we say to you, no treating of symptom. If you have the courage and you have the brutal honesty, we're going to show you that you could overcome that figment of your imagination, that feeling that you are unworthy, that Factor X that we describe. So that in a nutshell is the origin of factor X, as you see there on the presentation. Now I'd like to just give back to Linda to ask me any questions. Here, you have some questions. Anybody have a question for me about this very interesting dynamic?
Yeah, Manuel, thank you for sharing that. So would you say most of the decisions most of us make on a daily basis is driven by our factor X?
Linda, I'm going to answer that for the first time on record today, slightly differently to how I asked it how I answered that before.
Okay.
So let's have a look at this dynamic. Some of my traits that is part of my first choice self, like this whole thing about me not liking to treat symptoms and always wanting to address the first cause, address the root cause. That is something that I'm 100% certain is carved into my heart. I'm passionate about that. Now, and that is what led me to get to the two different lives, the first choice and second choice, and the birth of the factor X now, and the birth of the second choice. So I want to say, if in your life you have courage and you have brutal honesty, I think I would like to change my story that your first choice self pierces that shield of the survival mechanism of the ways that we protect ourselves. If you have the courage and the brutal honesty, some of that is going to show itself. So I would like to say, Linda, whereas before I would have answered the short version, yes, I'm now saying there's a 99.999% chance that the answer to your question is yes. But let's give it a 0.001% that if you are a member of how I grew up, if you are someone who is not interested in what somebody else tells me, who wants to dig and find the answer, there is some possibility that you are not making all your decisions based on your factor X. Is that a strange thing for you to hear today from my mouth?
Yes, no, thank you, Emmanuel. I just want to check, is my sound okay on your side?
Your sound is fine, other than it's a little bit jerky, but I also find quite a bit of an echo.
Okay, no worries. Now, Emmanuel, thank you for answering that question. I don't have any further questions, and I'm excited to elaborate on that topic in our Q&As.
Okay, okay. Does that mean we move on? Pierre, has Pierre maybe got a question for me?
It doesn't look like it.
Okay, right. So then shall we start at the next one? So what we say there is addressing the root cause. So I made a statement 2 seconds ago about that. So let's read there what it is, that through your factor X, you hide yourself in your subconscious. So I'd like to just stand at this for a moment. I write about this also in Life Can Be Different Conception. So at the birth of this figment of my imagination, I'm worthy or not good enough, which I coined as factor X. Also, as part of this figment of our imagination, what happens in that very split second when we make that choice that we are not good enough, as an example. What happens there is we hide ourselves in our subconscious. And I'm saying subconscious in quotes. I'd like to elaborate on this point. From this stance, when we are living as our second choice self, which I'm now professing is how it is, and I'm going to come to the odds that I give that statement of mine in a moment. What happens in that very moment, I disappear from the face of the earth. I disappear. But where do I go to? Because in my introspection journey, I often found traits of that. And as part of when we are going to look at the level 3 membership, where we look at our daydreams, from which we are able to deduce our purpose, that means that it is accessible somewhere in our being, in our head, in our heart, in somewhere. So I'm saying that we hide ourselves, our first choice life, we hide that in our subconscious. And when I say subconscious, I mean somewhere in us, we hide the first choice self life, and it is just there under the surface, and it shows itself every now and then. And the idea is now, and techniques that I found over time, was to slow my mind down long enough to be able to see what's going on in my subconscious. Thank you, Linde. And as a result of this also, this is why you wonder about your purpose. This is also how you deny your freedom of choice. Now, freedom of choice is a whole different dynamic, which we also cover in our first choice self membership presentation. So, Linde, you could move on one further, where we discuss what actually freedom of choice means. So let me just sum up just quickly. If this dynamic of Emmanuel is indeed factual, and I say that there's a second choice self, but there's also a first choice self, so the first choice self exists, the second choice self exists. What happens is we create that out of a figment of our imagination that we're not good enough. Now, for us to get back to our first choice self, it's not a process of going on and on and on and on and on and on. It's a step change, and we are able to do that by exercising our freedom of choice. So let me just say, Linde, and this feeds right back into your other question of a little bit earlier. when I'm making decisions and choices and options from a stance of my second choice self, I'm always wanting to disprove that I'm unworthy, wanting to disprove that I'm good enough or that I'm not good enough, or wanting to disprove that I'm a failure. So any choice that we make there is not free because it is driven by the fear of I'm not good enough. Now, freedom of choice is based on the fact that I make the choice not from my fear. And to be able to speak about this, the terminology that we use here from the first choice self. So we get a glimpse of our first choice self. We then make a decision based on our freedom of the fear that I'm unworthy, as an example. And I make that decision that I'm not going to live like that anymore. And consequent to that, I then make the freedom of choice decision, which is in the meantime, we deny ourselves that. And as a result, we then start living our first choice life. And that fear of I'm worthy is gone out of our lives. Now, I'm making this statement here. I assume a 1% chance that what I found for myself exists for others also. So if you are here and you are enjoying this material and it resonates with you, you are probably one of that 1% chance. And therefore, I'm sharing this event today with you, and you have the opportunity to address the root cause of why you ask the question of what is the meaning of my life. I'm yearning for a different life, or something feels missing. Okay, so there's that 1% chance. Now, the book that I refer to is based on my trials and tribulations as I was introspecting and looking at my life through a magnifying glass, through a microscope. Now, I'd like to just elaborate on this point a little bit as well. That with peace evolution and with this message and with your willingness to look at the root cause, and the book Life Can Be Different Conception is based on what I'm talking about here. What the outcome of that is that you are going to not need to go down all the paths that you might have already gone down and further paths that you go down to treating symptoms. Here you have the uniqueness that you are able to address the root cause. And of course, by addressing the root cause and not needing to go down all these paths to see if, is this what I'm looking for? Is this what I'm looking for? Is this what I'm looking for? It's also a time saver. Okay, thank you, Linda. So let's go further. And I also discovered through my journey the phenomenon that exists in the human spirit, that it has the desire to heal humanity. Now, these are tricky things and things that you are going to have to take a look at for yourself to see this. I would like to give a simple example. Anywhere in nature, and of course, humanity is part of nature, there is self-healing taking part. If I cut myself, it's going to self-heal. If I break something, it's going to self-heal. Now, the moment I go and I drop my living my life from fear that I'm not good enough, I automatically also heal. I start by healing myself. I start by evolving my inner peace. So think about that for a moment. Is that healing or is that not healing? Thank you, Linda. So I want to stop here and say anything from your side before we continue.
Yes, Emmanuel. I just want to share with the viewers that what I think is so fascinating about your journey is that you have, I think it's decades, I don't know how many decades, you've spent uncovering and recognizing your first choice self. And I think the benefit of viewers taking part in the membership, getting the ebook, reading about your story is definitely going to save them lots of time and money, for that matter, to fast track them to living a life of meaning and purpose. And again, like you said, if there's 1% chance that what is true for you is true for them, then I'm very excited to see what impact this is going to have on people's lives. So, yes, thank you for sharing that.
Thank you, Linda, and you're most welcome. So what I would like to ask, Linda, so of course these are not easy dynamics. I'm painstakingly want to share them, and but also I don't want to take 7 days to share it. Do you feel I'm keeping a balance between the depth of the sharing and the clarity of the sharing versus time?
Absolutely, Emmanuel. And again, we are obviously open to comments and questions, and that's why we have these sessions. So we have loads of material that our viewers can listen to or look or watch for free. That's on our channel. So all of the things that you're discussing today, we have extensively covered in many of our other videos. And yes, but I think you've definitely on a high level, summary wise, you've touched on the key points that we wanted to share with our viewers today.
Okay, thank you for that confirmation, Linda. Right, so then I'm ready for the last part of the presentation, the impact
Okay.
of factor X on your health. Okay, So let's stand back a little bit and say, why should we live a healthy lifestyle? Why does that even come into it? Now, while we are living as our second self, based on this figment of our imagination, based on this dynamic of factor X, of course, our energy in our body is not flowing smoothly. Let me give an example, just a simple example. We have backache, we have our shoulders are, something does not work right with our legs, we have headaches, we develop all sorts of chronic conditions, we might have cholesterol. So as a second choice self, we have put our body through the ringer, so to speak. Now, suddenly, we understand this dynamic of what we did. The second part of it is now, but we sit with a body that's now not healthy. And what we decided here at Peace Evolution is to also touch on how are we now able to fast track the healing of our body. Also cutting out the habits that we picked up along the way. So let's have a look at that. How do we heal the body? So let's look at this about healthy eating. We are not necessarily eating healthy. We are putting all sorts of things into our body, and the food is not necessarily healthy. For instance, we might be consuming a lot of added sugar. Just as one example, we might be consuming food that is not nutritious, but it somehow impacts the body in some way. Now, why would I want a healthy body, you might ask? So, why do I want a healthy body? Could it be that I care about myself, that I am self-loving? Is it because I'm self-motivating? Is it because if I now found my life after, let's say that you make the step change at the age of 20 or 40 or 60, whatever the age might be, that you make the step change to your first choice self, you then also would like to have a healthy body with which you are then able to live a quality of life, while you have now got this newfound life that's always been there but hidden. And you would like to also, of course, have stamina and energy. Best way to get stamina and energy is to take care of your body. You also are accountable and responsible for your body. So why would you not want to have a healthy body? What is stopping you? Why are you needing to wait? So that's the part of eating. Now let's have a look at another one. The role of movement or exercise. In modern day living, many of us sit behind a computer. We are sedentary. We don't do much exercise. Some of us do exercise. And in that exercising of our body, in the movement, and that's why we also include movement lessons, either as a live online class or as follow along videos. You have an opportunity to, at your pace, do movement and exercise to your own ability. The movement and the exercise could be very, very little. It does not have to be much. But of course, what I found is the more that I do, the more I want to do. Then there is another side of it also, and that is about fasting. You might now ask, so why should I fast? Let's have a look at this. If our body over time has now gotten to deteriorate, right, and we want to heal it, and we would like to heal it quickly, or we want to fast track that healing, we might have extra weight that we carry, we might have cholesterol, and whatever the case is, whatever ailment or dis-ease that we have in our body, fasting goes towards addressing that. If you haven't done fasting, of course, we say rather do fasting under medical practitioners' guidance. And then let me just go to the next point here. I'd like to just stop for a moment on autophagy, the body's self-healing. Now, you might know this, you might not know this, but here is a body. The body has now got some creaks and ailments and diseases and a bit of overweight and a little bit of cholesterol, and we are sedentary, and eventually the body now is in some condition where it's not ideal for your quality of life that you would want as part of your first choice self. And let's say you're 30 pounds overweight, as an example. The other side of it is that you heard that fasting is going to lose a lot of weight for you. Now, that's all true. I would, for instance, on a 5-day fast, lose up to 5 kilograms. Now, while we are fasting, and when I say a 5-day fast, all I'm taking in is water or tea. My preference is water and black coffee, no sugar, no mix into the water, just plain tap water or filtered water, and coffee, no milk, no sugar, no cream. And I have that for 5 days. Now, what happens during that time is it induces autophagy in the body. And what the body then does is it takes all excess material in the body that is not needed, starting with the easy ones first, and it then processes that, and that's how it's giving me some energy to live with. I have also often gone on walks while I'm fasting, so you don't have to sit in a bed, on a bed. You could go and do chores in the garden, you could go and walk, as long as you take it easy and you listen to your body. Now, what happens with autophagy further is that it also starts cleansing all other bits and pieces in your body after it's done all the easy processing. It then also, as part of that autophagy, starts healing certain areas because it's removing from a particular area what it does not need to be there. Now, also, the other side of this, if we go and we do some exercise or movement and we do it for long enough, if it's just 5 minutes, you're going to get less benefit, of course, than if it is an hour of brisk walking, just as an example, or cycling for 10 minutes versus cycling for an hour or two. And remember, you start slow and you can build this up. While that's going, the body also needs to feed itself and switch off autophagy is induced during exercise as well, where it's now taken from the body to sustain us while we are not consuming anything other than, let's say, just water. So it's important that we also understand autophagy and its role in the body's self-healing process. Now, even better is that we watch what we eat. So if we eat, let's say, lots of added sugar in our everyday eating, of course, our body consumes that and it's going to put it somewhere, and it's more than what we need. So the autophagy is going to remove that. But let's assume this for a minute, where we eat in a healthy way, where we don't consume excesses, where we don't consume added sugar, as an example. The body, when it goes into autophagy, when that is induced either via exercise or via fasting, it starts sooner with repairing the difficult parts in our body that it usually does last. So that is the autophagy. If we then go a little bit further, let's rather begin. So, for instance, I might say, oh, but I can't start this because I don't know how. It doesn't matter, just start. We don't need perfection. As long as we start, that's fair enough. And then lastly, it's hard work. It takes work to achieve a healthy body. Suddenly you've got to watch what you're eating. Suddenly you go into where you don't eat that often, you don't nibble, you eventually break all those patterns, and you have your last meal, let's say at 6 o'clock in the evening, 1800 hours, and you have your next meal, let's say at 7 o'clock in the morning. Then for those 11 hours, you have water or coffee or tea, no milk, no sugar, no nibbling. That is then also an intermittent fast, where for that period, your body also has a chance to consume everything and to process everything that you ate during that day. So your body then becomes a lean machine, so to speak. And that's where the health starts kicking in. And the healing, as you could see here, is a combination of eating, exercising, fasting, and also autophagy. And then all of this combined gives your body the strength and stamina and the energy with which you then live a quality of life while you are living as your first choice self. So that in a nutshell is what the second level membership is all about, what we've covered now. Linda, back to you.
Thank you, Monyon. I just want to check, can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you perfectly fine, Linda.
Okay, perfect. I would just like to mention to our viewers that we had a very interesting discussion and conversation on motivation and willpower in one of our previous sessions, which was a very interesting take on living a healthy life. So I would encourage our viewers to go and have a look at that. But yes, thank you so much for sharing that, Emmanuel. I don't have any further questions from my side. I just want to check if there's anything from Pierre. Okay, he's shaking his head. Right, so I think we can do a quick wrap up, and yeah, Thank you all for watching the replay. If you're watching the replay, please remember to comment or give us some kind of reaction of what you think about our membership levels and the perks involved in really getting to that on that personal note of finding out what our factor X is and how we can uncreate it and live a life of meaning and purpose.
Linda, thank you for that summary.
Fantastic. So that's all, folks. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, and bye-bye, everyone.